Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 24 Loofahs. Halloween is close by, and so we decided to watch the movie Terrifier 2.
The two-inning.
And make a review of it, and here it is. So there we were, sitting in the movie theater. It was perfectly quiet.
Facts.
It started out real nice.
Testify.
And just like life happens to be, right when it started getting good, a bunch of rowdy teenagers came in, sat down right next to us, and talked the whole entire movie, which was, of course, great to have for a surrounding environment when you go to the movies. Great setup.
Yeah, just proper hooligans.
Yeah, I hate to sound like that old woman, but it's just like, you go to the movies, you sit down, it just sucks when it starts out really good, like, if they were already there, you already know what you're getting into, but just to, like, sit there, and then to have, like, these teenagers just fully, like, it's crazy. So, yeah, I sound like that old woman, but it was rude.
They were doing the thing where they try to get a joke in.
Yeah.
Whenever they could, like they've saw one too many Mystery Science Theaters.
It made me think why I should have just stayed home and watched this in my own house without a bunch of like random strangers talking during it.
But would it be as fun sneaking in the candy?
That's true. What was different about this movie is that I really liked the way it looked. It didn't look like the regular films. Like Halloween Kills is probably going to look really clean and really nice and, crisp. But this movie looked like the old-fashioned, horror movies from the 90s with, like, or maybe the 80s even with the grainy effect. It really gave you a sense of, like, nostalgia, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. It is a modern movie, though. So, like, it takes place in modern times. But it definitely does hit you with the 80s vibes. I mean, it has a really nice synth soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think was really well mixed. The way the music kind of kept together multiple scenes. It was actually very fun. I mean, it did help engross you in the film.
Yeah, actually, when it first started, the soundtrack, I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to download this and listen to it, doing whatever I do while listening to it.
Best way to do your homework is with serial killer theme music in the background. This movie, of course, takes place a year after the original movie. Which we did not see.
So
this kind of like, hey, if we could enjoy it without seeing the first one, you can too.
You can too. I can't protest. It's one of those movie sequels where you can watch it without seeing the first one. At the same time, though, there is this character of this little girl.
Almost a sort of plot convenience kind of near the end. Convenient, hardly an inconvenience.
Yeah, they show the characters a lot. They don't just like show, like, Pennywise comes up here and there, and that's scary. But this clown shows up everywhere, and the little girl. So it gets to a moment where it's like, okay, it's just a little girl.
They do show the horror monsters quite a bit. You do break that rule where it's like, don't show the monster too often. The less you show, the more the audience's imagination can take over. But in this one, the clown is basically one of the main characters. Like, it follows him as closely as you would follow a main character, a leading role. It's still horrifying. It still terrifies too.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to compare other monsters to other monsters. But if we're going, if I am with Pennywise, he's different creatures, so you don't know, like, Pennywise shows up as a werewolf, as another old person, and then the clown, and you get scared. This person just, like, shows up everywhere, which leads me to, like, he has kind of like a Freddy Krueger effect where, he has spiritual powers, but then he doesn't. Yeah, and I get the whole monster trope of like, oh, they can't never really die, Jason can't really die type of thing. But it's like, can you lock somebody in a dream world or can't you? You know what I mean? That was the thing.
Art the clown is supernatural. He can do things normal people cannot. It is kind of hard when you have characters like that because inevitably, and it happens in this movie too, where it kind of, I guess, breaks its own rules. Like, he's seen having super strength, but then, of course, the main characters have plot armor.
I mean, how did you feel about the protagonist in this film against Art the Clown?
I do think it was mismatched. Basically, you could boil this down to like a prophecy. It's all about the prophecy. Oh, the daughter was a chosen one, kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that, especially with her dad.
If I could say something, the dad offs himself, but before it leaves a bunch of drawings showing his older daughter as this character that she recreates as a Halloween costume, which is basically just, a piece of metal here and two pieces of here. It's Abercrombie and Finch, Dad. And so I just kind of, the whole time, like, after a moment, I kind of pictured myself just like, the dad was sitting there like, yeah, my daughter's the chosen one. One day her boobs are really gonna fill out this costume. Oh, her ass is really gonna do this chastity belt justice. Am I right, Frank?
That was creep vibes.
Yeah, it's like this tiny costume, though.
Again, very nostalgic of maybe, I think you brought this up on the drive home, very Conan the Barbarian feeling, very revealing, but supposed to be empowering.
And I'm not trying to be a prude. Look, I would wear that costume, to be honest. It's just the thought of the dad drawing it as his daughter in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only thing,
It's
know?
Like, hello, my 6-year-old daughter. This is a sexualized character.
That's the thing. That's the only thing. The next thing I want to move on to, though, if you're down, is jump scares. Because,
I think jump scares were in this film. It has them. And I think it's the most traditional horror thing it probably has. I don't want to call them cheap scares. There is also it does teeter on like gore porn. Yeah. And I mean, you kind of have to, I guess, if you want to get to a point where you're like psychologically messing with your audience, you kind of have to push it to that degree.
Well, there's like obvious gore that is scary. Obviously, there's gonna be a shot of like. There's a shot of the clown hitting a guy's face with a hammer. Obviously, those quick cuts and those sound effects are going to be like a scare. But to me personally, there was the 21st century jump scares, of course, where, I mean, I feel like there was good, bad, and whatever. Obviously, like a quick sound effect, that jump scare, okay, whatever. Then there was some good ones that actually generally scared me that I'm like, that's good. But then there was this one jump scare that I just didn't like. Now I'm nitpicking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did also kind of feel superhero-y. It felt like a action superhero comic book movie, even though there's no like superhero movie from a comic book. But I guess the daughter takes the place of that with this chosen one sword.
I get that. It's very refreshing that, you see a character really get their ass beat, instead of just like getting punched in the face and having the evil character monologue for a second. It's really refreshing, But at the same time, like, damn, like, she got her ass beat. Like, she's not a fucking superhero. She's a human being in an angel costume. Running around in underwear, and she's getting her head smashed into like cement.
That underwear has plus 100 defense. There was a lot of metaphors with my nipples.
She was like She-Hulk getting smashed around without the green paint on her face. Jesus Christ. So the deaths in this movie, I felt like there were some that weren't needed, but there were some that were obviously great. I'll go in a little bit more detail in a minute, but how did you feel about the deaths?
The movie definitely earns the NR-17 rating that it got.
Oh, yeah.
It starts off like kooky McCookie Pants when you're like, oh, it's gonna be one of those kind of movies. Near the end, kind of betray that, I feel.
Yeah, the hocus pocus effect for sure. They were in a school. He could travel around to different places, but he was like, no, I need the blood of these two kids specifically for my potion to be a clown forever. Like, it was just, like, he just wanted to kill these two kids for some reason.
Yeah, but it's also kind of implied that they're already connected for some reason. Like with the dream, I think she has that weird dream before
What really? So the deaths are really brutal. I'm just gonna say it. Just picture a turkey just getting flipped inside out.
Christ.
Jesus Christ, man. It
Gnarly.
was.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And so I'm just saying, like, remember, if you kick a clown in the face, meh. If you almost kill him, maybe. But if you deny him candy, oh Lord, you better leave the country.
No mercy.
Oh, no mercy. No mercy.
So, do you think we should watch the first one?
Oh yeah.
Ooh, okay, we're gonna try this again. 10 likes, and we'll watch the first one and review that terrifying movie.
What's one thing you would change about the film? Because I have one thing, and then I'm good.
Interesting question. I mean, for a second, I thought it was a movie where the protagonist just flat lose. And I think that probably, I mean, this definitely feels like a slasher movie that's gonna be like, have 17 sequels, like Halloween and the
yeah.
such. Like, no matter what, always come back, supernatural, blah, blah, blah. I would have made it darker.
Yeah, I would have made it darker too, because there's this happy ending, and then obnoxiously, puts her sword behind her each time, which really was just like, Jesus, keep your weapons up. You're in a horror movie.
No sense of survival.
No sense of survival, but what I would have changed is, like, so many setups. That's the thing, there were so many setups that you thought was going to lead this way and that way, but it didn't.
Yeah.
And it's like, even though that's great because you want to sit there going, I know what's going to happen, and then if there's a twist, oh, that's cooler. But was the twist worth it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of loose ends.
You watch it for yourselves. I really like it. I give it 4 golden flushes.
Out of how many golden flushes?
Out of 24.
That's a horrible score. Are you sure you like it?
Okay. I give it 19 gold flushes out of 24 gold flushes.
That's actually, I would probably say 16. 16 gold flushes out of 24.
16 gold flushes. All right. Thank you guys for checking out our Loofah movie review of Terrifier 2. And please check out our other content on our channel. Like and subscribe. The button below with your loofahs. And have a wonderful day. And come back to 24 loofahs for more fun.